which is why they're looking at the property there. It's one of the few areas here that has enough size that we can move that amount of water into it that's available. Okay.
Well, we don't know yet how much amount of water we're talking, right?
We don't know.
We don't know how much water we're talking.
I'm not an engineer. I got to warn you with that. I'm a biologist. But honestly, this does seem kind of inefficiently engineered. You know, it's not really a wet pond, and it's almost too low to be a dry pond. And it's like
we haven't had a whole lot of rain lately. It's pretty damp.
Yeah, I mean the water table probably is. I mean, looking around it, it probably is not too far under this elevation here. So it's not really a good dry pond. It's not really a wet pond, but I mean maybe there's a way they could go back and figure out a way to engineer this thing so it's more. Maybe they didn't do a good job analyzing in the beginning, or
the only thing is that back then it was half an inch over the drainage area. Now they need to do the 1 inch plus the additional 50 because it's OFW.
Yeah.
So so the volume is not just gonna double; it's gonna triple.
Would it be worth checking into?
You can check into, but just by, you know, I don't know what the drainage basin it is that is causing here.
But it's still
so it might be
into.
based on the, you know, area it may be a sizable drainage area.
Now there is also other drainage retention areas, just not too far from where we are. It goes around the gated community.
Mm-hmm.
There is that big ditch that goes around that I know I saw a lot of documentation on.
Right next to the railroad?
No, it's just
right
as a stone's throw over here. It's just through this riverwood and over there. And I know they have another huge circle drainage around the property somewhere.
I don't know. I mean, this looks kind of crudely engineered, and maybe you can pick up some, but what I'm hearing Leo say is the criteria is so much more rigorous now that...
Yeah, and since it's very damped, adding more water may not recover within 72 hours. You could just consider that
none of this is simple. That's the problem.
If this area here is not large enough, then the small acreage you want to buy in the county is not going to be large enough because it's much smaller than this.
Well,
this is huge.
Like Leo says, we don't know the drainage basin. This is probably a big drainage basin because it's probably subdivision wide. It goes owns the height of the subdivision. So our project, we're just talking about a little stretch of road that may be adequately sized to meet whatever it is they're trying to do. This is a subdivision. I mean, this is for the whole gigantic.
Yeah, this is a large area that you're trying to drain into this.
Yeah, and this is the map. This is the area we're talking about. I mean, this is what it's like. That's the lines of it. We are not anywhere near, I don't think, to the edge of these boundary lines here. This is not anywhere to the edge of these boundary lines.
That's what I'm saying.
With the thought that the drainage would immediately start going to the creek through a pop-off. I mean, this 20-foot section down there, at any given time, this water is going to continue to run because you're going to have a drainage line that goes all the way down here for a pop-off. I mean, if you're having sufficient outflow, doesn't that affect the ability to capture the water, let it settle enough to take care of a lot of water going out?
It all depends. There are a lot of different factors. Soil conditions, seasonal high water table, because you're not only thinking of water quantity, the drainage that is going to a creek, you're also dealing with the volume that you need to treat and percolate into the ground. So if you increase that volume, that might be, that would be something that can be checked in, do a couple soil borings and see how the soil is in here.
And that's where we go back to the city. That's where I think the city, what we're looking for is the city to explore proper use or the most efficient use of an area that's already here. If it's not been explored and we really don't know if it's got capacity for enough water, then what you're doing is spending $400,000 when you might have had another fix here that just wasn't explored. And a fix already laid out. They've got a drainage and a outflow easement.
We have an easement, but that does not entitle us to a lot of things.
I could kill you. You know what? There's not a single person who lives here is going to let you cut the trees down to make this more efficient.
And so
they're going to cut our trees down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go down to our
area.
And
what is that?
Oh yeah.
How does that equate?
That's the grand plan.
How does that equate? I mean, they won't let you do it here.
And
Well,
we
it's
don't,
not
and
gonna
we
be-
don't have a
easy
flooding
thing is
issue
to
either.
not
That's
do
the
it here.
thing. We don't have a flooding issue now. Who's to say we won't now? If you go down there and drain all the water down there. I've seen that creek raised pretty high in the 3 years I've lived there.
Just practically speaking, I don't see a private organization donating their land to the city to solve your problem. Somebody else's
It's
problem.
not, it's their problem.
Yeah.
It's not,
Their problem.
it's not our,
across the street.
no. We live down at the end of the road.
The
We live
issue
at the end of
is
the road.
the property that we are looking at, okay, is in the county.
That one parcel.
Right at the end where we're all parked.
All three
That's-
parcels.
Oh, that parcel.
That's county property right now. Or it doesn't belong to the county, it's within
It's
the
under
county.
contract.
Okay. But the city potentially is going to own that. So at that point, we have control of that piece of property, unlike this piece of property, which is owned by all of the homeowners association here. And as he said, they're not going to be real excited about us coming in here and taking all of these trees down.
But we're not
That's-
excited
we weren't
about
excited.
it.
That's
I
where-
understand
and
that.
that's
Gonna
where
be
you're
you guys
missing our
times
point.
5.
But whatever happens to that
And that's
property,
not-
No,
no,
there's a
no,
lot
it's
of
just water
actual
clearing.
Some
But
of
the
them
They're
are.
development-
diverting the
the
problem to
development
somebody
created the
who's
problem
easier to
here.
throw it off on. That's what we're seeing.
well,
There would not be a problem if there was no development, and this is here for the development. So I don't follow the logic in all this.
this is working for them.
No, it's not. In fact, I talked to two residents yesterday, and their biggest complaint was that the city has promised us over and over and over that they were going to drain this easement to the creek, and they have never done
They
it.
let you.
I think if you told them we can solve your flooding problem, all you need to do is let us reconfigure this area that is common property, but it's here for a reason, and that's to help you have dry houses. I think you might be surprised. They might not be all for, you know what, no, we're going to be bad neighbors there, and we're going to say, no, maybe it could be done, but we'd really
Well,
rather
you may
those
not have
people
to
deal
take
with it.
down that many trees
Right.
either. I mean, there's no study that has been done.
I
here.
can't answer the question.
I don't know either.
They know a lot more about it than I do.
You
and
want
they
to make
can't
it
answer
really
the question.
more.
Yeah.
Engineers like to have a nice clean lines and black box, and that means you don't engineer around trees.
But
Do what's
this
designed.
right here is why we don't want it down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's very, this isn't the end of a dead end road, this is in the middle of a subdivision, and you've got that.
I understand.
You know, the only thing that's going through that parcel, the SunTrust parcel, is just a pipe underground. It's not going to be. Right now, we don't have any plans on the plans for a recreational facility. or anything. I mean, all we've got right now is there's going to be an outfall that pops out there. There's
The city does.
These
The
other
city, I mean, the
two
city does
properties
have
that
eyes
the city
on
are
that.
looking at are larger, considerably larger than
I
that.
don't know.
Yeah.
No, we don't
that's,
have anything.
that's what we're
at
talking
least
about. Stuff
Yeah,
proposed
like
for
that.
our-
we're not anywhere near that part of the